Hello, this is Eduardo Vazquez, part of the Ediana Greg squad, and today we are going to talk about the suppression of the African American dream throughout American history. But first, what exactly is the American dream? Is it money? Education? Maybe having a big family? Or even more rights? The truth is, the American dream is not just one tangible goal. It's an idea that is shaped by the people who are trying to reach it. Now let's get into background information about African American movement into the U.S. In 1619, the slave trade between the United States and Africa began. 6% of slaves traded went to the British colonies in North America. Although 6% may not sound like a lot, it's more than 10.7 million African Americans. These slaves were used to fuel the plantation economy of the southern colonies, which was mostly growing cash crops such as tobacco. On these farms, African Americans worked under cruel conditions and for unreasonably long hours. How is it possible for them to achieve their dreams under these conditions? They had no right to basic comforts such as showers, good food, freedom to voice their opinions, leisure, new clothes, no pay, and almost no education whatsoever. This dehumanized them to the point of becoming tools and property, not equal and functioning members of American society. Under these circumstances, they would not be capable of achieving their dreams of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and proper education. Finally, the Civil War came. Slaves everywhere found themselves thinking, are we finally free? Sadly, the answer is no. There's still a very long road ahead. Slaves all around were forced to contribute to the war by bringing around supplies for troops. These were often done in the front lines, putting their lives at risk. Post-Civil War, the slaves were finally free. They should be able to pursue their dreams, correct? The answer is no. They now had other obstacles holding them back from achieving their dreams, such as segregation, white supremacy, and the separate but equal doctrine. As a result of Plessy v. Ferguson, African Americans and whites had separate public facilities, but somehow remained quote-unquote equal. Public facilities that were segregated were just about any you could think of. Schools, trains, movies, dining, and many more were all segregated. How exactly did Jim Crow laws deny the American dream of African Americans, though? Though it is stated separate but equal, the public facilities for whites were vastly superior than those for blacks. This meant unequal education, representation, and pay, all of which being huge factors in opportunities to achieve the American dream. Meaning, although the method changed from slavery to segregation, their dream was still being denied. On to the civil rights movement. Before the movement, we saw no equality in education, rights, or pay. Important figures who brought this change were Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X, just to mention a few examples, but there were many more. Brown v. Board of Education attempted to fight and overrule Plessy v. Ferguson by finally eliminating the unequal education for African Americans. Another challenge towards the inequality in public accommodations was Rosa Parks refusing to move from her spot on the bus. Martin Luther King promoted peaceful protest and had a dream that everyone's American dream was equal in reach. This led to the passing of the Civil Rights Act that finally assured equal rights for African Americans. Or did it? African Americans in today's society are still somewhat hindered from achieving their American dream in several ways. There are still differences under the laws, in schools, and most importantly, in the way the public view them. In public schools today, African American students are 4 times more likely to be expelled than white students are. 59% of African Americans graduate high school, while 80% of whites graduate. Education being the ultimate creator of opportunity, taking it away causes big inequality to reach their dreams. To add on to this, higher dropouts also have huge effects on social structure as well. Dropouts are twice as likely to do illicit drugs. While in today's world, jobs are requiring more and more education, people going down this path are likely to go into a life of crime. This leads to racial profiling since most dropouts are African American. It leads to cops targeting this group over any other. 80% of people stopped in a study in New York were African Americans, and those tried served 10% longer sentences than white citizens for the same crime. Racial profiling has led to bad views of the police and eventual police brutality, Trayvon Martin being a critical case. Lower education and racism has led to increases in stereotypes against them, such as inclination towards drugs, domestic abuse, alcoholism, and many more, which are not true. These negative views deny their dreams by putting possible stigma against them in the work environment and decreasing opportunities available to them. Finally, we get to the most recent fight for African American opportunity, the Black Lives Movement. The Black Lives Movement was public outrage fueled by police brutality and the thrive for equal opportunity under the law. To recap, African American dreams have changed during American history. During slavery, their dream was freedom. After the Civil War, it was equal opportunity. And today, their simple goal is equal treatment. These 3 dreams were denied in 3 different ways. Slaves with unfair work and no rights. During the Civil War with separate but equal laws. Lastly, today with unfair police and education treatment. Thank you. This has been the denial of African American dreams throughout U.S. history. Eddie, Anna, Greg, out.